You in the zone. And today, we have none other than Erik Hernandez, fucking guitar extraordinaire.
Oh, stop.
And bad motherfucker in general. Come on, look at that hair. So, we're just chilling here, and it's a little comfortable setting. But every time you jam out, do you pretend like you're in a big stage, or are you just in your own zone? Just worried about what the outcome of the music is gonna be instead of like the main stage like setting.
Well, usually when I practice, I focus more on the technique than focusing on, I guess, like, the stage. The stage doesn't really come to me until maybe like an hour or so into practice. So I at least every day try to practice at least an hour, and the most I practice is about 4 hours. And recently, I mean, I practice here because it's just the most comfortable thing that I have, like the most comfortable setting. But
Definitely, yeah, it's real.
I don't really think about the stage until I'm actually like at a show, and I go through my practice routine there. And yeah, dude, I practice so much to the point where when I get on stage, I want it to be more about having fun and getting down, as opposed to worrying about whether I have this technique down.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
At that point, every musician, artist should have whatever they're gonna do live already down, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
You can't go into a live setting, with shook, or what are you gonna do, because you should already give the audience, what you're doing up there.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like you want to learn a technique the day of the show and try to pull it off, and then you just sound like a piece of shit. It's just like, oh, I thought I could do this.
Yeah, right. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people out there that that have taken that chance, and it might have worked for them, might have not. But yeah, I definitely feel what you mean.
Yeah.
So like you've been in your first album, with 5150. What's like the most What do you like about recording? What don't you like about recording? Because that's a whole different process.
Yeah. To be honest, I love every aspect of recording. I guess the only thing I don't like is when people waste time in the recording studio.
Yeah.
There's been times before, and not only with 5150, but there's been times with previous bands that I've recorded with where certain people don't know their parts, or they try to improvise at the recording studio. And it goes back to like practicing. It's like you should already have that shit mapped out.
Yeah.
I mean, there's certain things, like there's certain spots that I purposely leave in music up for improvisation, so we can improvise on the spot. But the majority of the time, everything's well rehearsed, and I like the studio because it's more focused on what your final product's gonna be.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never really had a bad time at the studio unless someone can't fucking play a part. That's the one part where it really pisses me off. I'm just like, dude, you knew we were going to go in the studio, you had this much amount of time, and you still don't have it. That kind of pisses me off. But it also forces me to, like, look at myself as a musician and look at how I prepare myself.
Yeah.
Just through other people's mistakes that I kind of learn not to do certain things.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, definitely. And, as far as the process goes, like, building up to an album, is it, like, it must be painstaking, but also, like, how does it feel, like, building an album itself, like, working up to a full-length album?
Dude, to be honest, I almost don't really think about it. Like, it's almost like, well, I mean, let's put it this way. When we build songs towards an album, I don't even think about it as of, like, oh, we have to write this album or anything like that. It's more like someone has a riff, I have a riff, and it's just fucking jamming on that song or riff until we finally feel like, dude, this would be so sick to unleash and stuff like that. When it comes to writing the album, I really don't think about it until all the songs are done and we're in the studio starting to record them, and it starts to feel a little bit. It's like there's more pressure on you because you want to have this album be the best representation of what you've gotten to. I think a lot of artists get stuck on the idea of like, this is who I am and blah blah. It's like, no, this is the stage that you're at, so you recorded this, and then you want to get to this stage and record that.
Yeah.
And but I mean, I never really think about it until we're in the studio, and at that point, it's fucking exciting, to be honest, because you're in there, you're about to unleash brand new music that some people might like, some people might not like, but it's fucking exciting just to be in there and to kind of like finally have something concrete in your hands that you've never really been able to attain. You
Yeah,
know,
definitely.
and that's one of the things I love about music is that you're making something out of nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's exciting to to see it come alive and to see all the parts play together.
Nice. And so, like, I mean, I've known you for a while now, and it's awesome to see like the progression that you've made yourself as an
Thanks,
artist
man.
because, you've I met you in high school pretty much, and then
Yeah.
we were all doing our own thing, but now you're like here, and you're playing big shows, and you have a cool audience, and so what's like the most what brings you to reality the most, like, so you don't get over your head, at least in that sense, because I'm pretty sure you feel good about your music, but then at the same time, you're still here.
Well, the one thing that kind of brings me back down to earth is it's pretty much the first thing that I learned when I was 14 years old, dude. When I was 14 years old, or like 13, I got my first guitar. At 14, I started my first real band and stuff like that, which was Abaddon. It was me, my best friend Jacob, and this bass player named Matthew. And we basically couldn't get any of our songs right. Like we kept trying to play to a click. None of us knew how to play the click at the time. We didn't have that much kind of patience. We thought that we can just turn it on and be like, oh yeah, we're gonna be fucking on time. But we had this massive ass fucking discussion, and basically they all took me down a peg.
Yeah.
Because I used to have this cocky attitude of like I'm the best guitarist, blah blah. Even though I couldn't fucking play shit, all I could do was play fast. And playing fast, it basically my solos kind of sounded like the first fucking Slayer's solos, where it's just like hella fast fucking notes. And they told me straight up, they're just like, dude, you fucking suck, dude. Your solos, they have no purpose. Your solos are just fucking whack. And that's really what I kind of think about to keep me grounded, because at the end of the day, there's always someone out there better. And I find it so funny when a lot of musicians are like, dude, we're fucking best, and like when I hear shit like that, I'm just kind of like, dude, get the fuck over yourself.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
anyone can blow me out of the water easily, and anyone can blow the next person out of the water. So I think it's very important that no matter how, like, we're getting a lot of big shows, but in reality, outside of this area, no one knows about us.
Yeah.
So I think it's very important to have that in mind. It's like, yeah, it's cool, man, you're making waves in your scene and stuff like that, but once you go on tour, don't expect to have the same reciprocation that you have on the road and in your hometown. So, I mean, long story short, someone handed my ass to me a long time ago, and I always keep that in the back of my head.
Yeah, definitely. And no, even then about your shows, you've played with. I've seen a couple of your shows live, and you've played with even local acts. They're fucking dope. They bring it live, and the energy's there. And I'm nothing against them, but against any of the bands. But in your mind, which band has like stood out the most, where you can say, damn, like their energy's really high, and we'd like to bring that out as well.
Dude, there's a couple of bands, but the ones that stick out the most would be obviously like Ex Mortis from Whittier, California. Those guys are making big waves now, and it's much needed because those guys have been on the road for fucking so long. I want to say maybe like 10 plus years, and they're finally getting a break. But those guys' live presence is so fucking crazy because they go balls out. They do crazy ass guitar solos, and they do this thing where they're like 69ing each other with their guitars. So their stage performance is like certain artists get the idea of what a show's about. Yeah. It's not just about playing your fucking songs, but it's about giving the audience a really awesome fucking experience.
Yeah.
To the point where it's almost like I'm not really there to watch the show. I'm there to be immersed in it. Ex Mortis is one of those bands. I would definitely say there was this fucking band that we played with in Oregon. I wish I could remember their fucking name, but like they didn't move around much. But the way that they pulled off their music was so fucking exciting for me because it was just hella clean and everything had a groove to it, and it makes people move around. And then the next artist who has a really awesome fucking stage presence that I want to get to the next level of is this band called Sueñotron. Those guys played the fucking S2SV festival this past Friday.
Right. Yeah, I saw that.
Dude, they had that whole place bumping. It felt like a house party, and every member was kind of engulfed in a crowd of people just getting down. And that's really what's most exciting.
Yeah.
As opposed to going to a fucking show and watching people stand around.
Yeah, that's not fun. Yeah, I don't know. It must be San Jose sometimes.
Right. It must be.
No, yeah, and even then, like there's a couple bands, right, that you hear a recording of, but then you see them live and it's totally different.
Yeah,
like Does that surprise you a lot? Like when you more or less like hear a band's recording, but or see them live, and then hear the recording, like wow, they're totally different.
A lot of the times, you know what? Sometimes I listen to the recording a little too closely because you can definitely tell when something's being produced or something's being chopped or someone's being cut and pasted in a different area, and I mean, I think it's kind of funny because a lot of those bands go around, flexing nutsack on everybody and being like, yeah, we got this dope ass fucking CD, a dope ass album, which is always, don't get me wrong, it's always awesome to have a really, really fucking awesome sounding CD, but if it doesn't translate well live,
Yeah.
then what's the point, Ultimately,
because that's like your live shows are like
yeah,
what like make or break you, because I mean personally I'm just saying because like yeah live shows like you got to do live shows and the representation that you
exactly.
give off is definitely
Yeah,
people.
exactly. And I've always looked up to bands that have a really solid sounding album. And then when you see them live, there's nothing lost. You know what I'm saying? Of course, some bands like to use harmonies and stuff like that, but a lot of the times, like bands like Trivium, Ex Mortis again, the Black Dahlia Murder, like those guys have a lot of production in their CDs. But when you see them live, it almost seems like you're listening to the fucking CD live.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it's very important that a lot of bands kind of go back to the way things were and go back to playing the riff the way it's supposed to be played and really rehearsing every fucking part.
Definitely. And like how would you measure success? It's a weird like question, but success is measured by a lot of things. So like yourself, like how would you consider your like at least your music successful?
Um, yeah, there's a lot of ways I can answer that.
In the shortest way.
In the shortest way, basically, like my idea of success is being able to put a roof over my head and put food on my table with what I love the most.
Yeah.
And that's music. That's how I measure success. And I think a lot of people, I think it's very important that anyone look at themselves as a musician, not as a certain genre musician. Like I lost the idea of being a metal guitarist a long time ago because it's the love of music. So depending on what opportunity comes up, you might just be paying the bills playing some fucking Irish music. Maybe. But that's my kind of form of success. That and having material that is relatable to people. You know what I'm saying? When someone can come up to me and say like, "Hey, dude, this album helped me out through the toughest times," or I never really thought of the world this way until I heard these lyrics. That's even bigger success because you're shaking someone's mentality in a sense. And this day and age, we need a lot more mentality shaken and a lot less people pampered.
Yeah, so. Definitely. And so that relates into like the more of like the reality because what obviously it's music that drives you, but external forces like let's say you watch a movie and that might give you an idea for something. Like do you get that often because you're a creative person, so it's out there a lot, and so you must see a lot of things that might inspire you?
Yeah, I mean I usually get inspiration from anything. I mean a majority of my inspiration does come from listening to other bands and listening to what kind of gets me a hard on. You know what I'm saying? Because at some point, I think a lot of people are on that kind of like, I have to write, I have to do this, I have to do that, and I have to, present my music in a certain way. And a lot of the times when people repeat the same album over and over again, it's tiring. And I like to always listen to something new. So like a lot of things that are inspiring me right now are a lot of instrumental cats.
Yeah.
So cats like Angel Vivaldi, this fucking band called Chone, and who else? Marty Friedman, Jason Becker, Cacophony. Those guys are like a big inspiration. A lot of books too inspire me as well. Like I was reading this book called The Empire of Illusion, which was basically talking about the decay of like American values and how we try to hold ourselves in a very like bright light, even though we're slowly dimming that light out. That's like one of the things right now that's really inspiring me is kind of like going out there and teaching people, or at least I don't want to say guiding people, but that sounds like enforcing something, but giving people like clues of like, hey, dude, some of the shows that you're watching are meant to keep you stupid. Like, just know that, and your phone is meant to keep you stupid, And I feel like right now at this point in age, there needs to be someone out there or a group of people out there are willing to push back on what society is trying to put on us.
Yeah.
That's the most exciting thing. I'm not too sure if I answered the question. I kind of
No, yeah, no, it's like I said, external forces. You know, it doesn't have to just be notes and riffs. It's, you know, your surroundings, because, you know, you're a living human being. And so that brings me to my next question. So, do you still take a fat shit before you go on stage?
Man, if you've kept up with me, man, yeah, I usually do take a fat shit before I got to, bro. Like, if you don't, and I go to headbang, like, the thing about headbanging, watch, I'll show you. The thing about headbanging is that, like, you can't just headbang like this. There needs to be, like, a good amount of fucking space so you can get your head all the way around. And there's been times before, like, when I played with Bonded by Blood, where I was like this, I had Taco Bell right before I fucking hit the stage, and something was about to come out.
Oh,
like,
man, that must have been fun.
So the rest of the time I was just like this. The whole time fucking playing.
Yeah, I bet the crowd was like, "What? Damn, that guitar is, I don't know, something. That boy ain't right."
Right, exactly. No, dude, you gotta take that shit, dude. I feel like it's almost like the shit that carries all the nerves.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it must be a stress reliever, I bet.
Hell yeah, dude.
And so, is there another, like, at least instrument that you're aching to play other than guitar?
I'm aching to play some, like, violin, man.
Yeah, that looks rough.
Honestly, like, I saw this celloist in San Francisco, and dude, she was ripping that shit hella crazy. But like, those kind of instruments, they bring like old feelings, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always felt like violin, cello, like string instruments always build atmosphere and always make it seem more like a horror movie or maybe like a good fucking play or something like that. And that's like the next instrument. I don't think I want to shred on it, but I just want to be able to, like, if I need to record something, not use a keyboard and just use a straight instrument, because it feels like it has more body as opposed to playing a keyboard that has a sample of a note, you know.
Yeah, no, that's pretty raw. You know, you're taking it back. Yeah, that's some classic shit for sure.
Yeah.
And so, you know, is there a band that out there that you'd be starstruck to say, hey, just, you know, play this set with us live, you know, our guitarist crapped out, and, you know, who would it be, at least?
Dude.
There's too many, I bet, but
There's too many, yeah, for sure. But I'll narrow it down to, like, two. If there was ever a band that asked me to, like, play for them and I would, like, shit my pants, it would definitely be Marty Friedman. Like, if he needed a fucking rhythm guitarist, I would so be there in a heartbeat. And the next band would have to possibly be Angel Vivaldi. I mean, his music is kind of like what's getting me more and deeper in tune with the way guitarists convey music and the way instruments are conveying emotions. I think a lot of people look at instrumental music as a way of like self-indulging and whacking yourself off, but technically any form of like music, even vocalists and acapellas, they're whacking themselves off and self-indulging to a certain extent. But yeah, dude, I would love to fucking play guitars for those two guys. Like,
yeah,
it would be insane. I practice my ass off like so much to the point where I would take a shit and be practicing. You know?
Nice.
Yeah, I usually don't do that. A lot of guitarists do that. I don't, because the bathroom's hella small.
Yeah.
And I don't want to fuck up my guitar. So.
Yeah, exactly right. Some good instruments right there that, you know, you wouldn't want to shit on.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, you know, just wrapping things up a bit. You know, just let, you know, everyone know what's coming up for you, your band, and, you know, what they should look out for.
Yeah, definitely. So with 5150, we're playing October 22nd at the DNA Lounge with Sepultura. That one's going to be a pretty big show.
That's going to be live.
Yeah. The next day, we're playing at the Catalyst Atrium with the Benevorks and Ex Mortis. That one's going to be pretty sweet. Other than that, we're started working on some new music. You can check everything out at 5150.com or section5150.com. And as far as new things coming up, I am working on my own project right now. The band's going to be called Elan Vital. And it's going to be an EP to look for, because I'm looking to not just release music, but I'm looking to release a new way of thinking.
Definitely,
so it should be pretty fun.
Dope. Yeah. All right, folks. Well, you heard it here. This is Erik Hernandez. And you motherfuckers just got rocked.
Rocked.